On December 9, 2008, the Climate Crisis Coalition and the Carbon Tax Center sponsored a briefing on Capitol Hill about the need for a national carbon tax. In a packed House Ways and Means hearing room, a panel of climate and economic experts explained why setting a price on carbon would be the quickest and most effective way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, create incentives for renewable energy and efficiency, generate green jobs, and promote economic and social equity. They appealed to Congress to make a carbon tax a central component of climate legislation to be enacted in 2009.
We have reached a point of a planetary emergency. The bad news is that the dangerous level of atmospheric carbon dioxide is actually, we've already passed that level. See, for example, the Arctic sea ice is beginning to disappear. We've lost almost half of it in the summer. Greenland is losing mass at a rate of about 200 cubic kilometers per year. If we want to keep carbon dioxide from increasing to large values and begin to get it to decrease, we need to phase out coal over the next couple of decades. But the other thing that's needed in order to move us to the era beyond fossil fuels, because we're going to have to move to energy sources beyond fossil fuels anyhow at some time. As I said, in the case of oil, we're already getting close to peak oil. But we're going to have to do that faster if we want to avoid climate disasters. And I think the way that you have to do that is by putting a price on those emissions. We're going to have a rising price on carbon emissions.
We believe we should tax bad things like pollution and reward good things like work. We need to do something now. We cannot wait to tackle this problem. A carbon tax could be implemented and effective right away. The carbon tax is a better way of getting there. It's clear, it's transparent, no new bureaucracy, no auctions. It must be easy to administer. A carbon tax could be implemented tomorrow, and there will be no need to create new agencies or bureaucracies to implement it. Just use the internal revenue code that already exists. The affected entities already pay taxes, so the system is already there in place.
The tax should be an upstream collection. We should tax it at the source where fossil fuels come out of the ground. Energy-related CO2 is about 80% of our greenhouse gas emissions. If we want to achieve, say, a 50% reduction in cumulative emissions between 2012 and 2050, one approach would be, say, a $15 tax. This is all real dollars in 2005 dollars, growing 10% real per year on carbon dioxide only. That would get you a 50% reduction in cumulative emissions. You tax the processors and the 55 import points, the 5 or so LNG facilities and the pipelines, you can catch the natural gas. Not only do you capture you tax the embedded carbon in the coal that comes out of the ground, but you can also include coal bed methane, which is also a potent greenhouse gas. We can capture that by taxing at the mine. There are 149 refineries in the United States. That is a logical place to levy, to administer a carbon tax. Economic modeling has consistently shown that a tax is more efficient.
I went to Germany to try to convince the German government that they should not build 20 new coal-fired power plants. And the environmental minister told me, well, we're going to have cap and trade. That's how we will solve the problem. But if you have new coal-fired power plants putting CO2 in the atmosphere, there's no way that you're going to solve the. We've got to drive down the emissions rapidly over the next few decades. Those coal-fired power plants will be there for a long, long time. So that's just, politically, that's convenient for people to take that position, but it's not going to solve the problem.
I think we only get one shot at this. I think whatever system we put in place, we're going to be stuck with for some time, and if it fails, it would be very difficult, I think, to come back again. My real problem with cap and trade is I think it will fail. And if it fails, we will find ourselves in very serious circumstances indeed.
Why go to the second best? We can even have the first best.
Cap or tax, if you try to put a cap, then utilities have a way to blackmail you. That is blackout or brownout. Then you're going to immediately say, we can't allow that. And so you will limit the cap. But a tax doesn't suffer from this, and if it'll be predictable and will not result in the blackouts.
And I think, emphatically, what we will do is create middle-income tax relief while at the same time serving a direct purpose of cleaning up the environment and getting after the problem of emitting harmful gases into our atmosphere that cause climate change.
The way to make a carbon tax work is to give 100% dividend. You have to give the money back to the public on a per capita basis. And that way stimulate the transition to a fossil fuel-less future. The person who does better than average in reducing his carbon emissions will actually make money. They will get more money back in the dividend than they pay in the taxes.
Carbon taxes are regressive, but a carbon tax reform need not be regressive. We can design it to have whatever degree of progressivity you would like. And it is essentially distributionally neutral across regions.
It must be revenue neutral. I really believe that without revenue neutrality, that we can't achieve the goals that we richly need in order to make this pass. We have to make sure that every dollar collected must go back to the American people through research and development into alternative energy technology to transition assistance for affected workers. The change you've been waiting for is you. And we need your help. And we especially need your help here on Capitol Hill.